My husband David prioritized his ex-girlfriend's wedding over our son's first birthday, leading me to file for divorce. Later, I discovered they had suffered the loss of a child, together in a tragic accident, and had vowed to support each other forever. David and I have been married for 3 years, and our son turned 1 last weekend. We had been organizing his first birthday celebration for weeks, planning a small but meaningful gathering with just our families and a few close friends. 2 weeks before the party, David mentioned that his high school sweetheart Lauren was getting married on the same day as our son's birthday. I assumed he was just sharing the news, perhaps feeling nostalgic about missing her event since they dated for 6 or 7 years in high school and remained friends afterward. But then he revealed he wanted to attend her wedding, which confused me because I couldn't imagine him choosing someone else's wedding, especially an ex's, over our son's milestone. David explained that Lauren had personally invited him and emphasized how much his presence meant to her, given their shared history. He felt obligated to attend to honor their past. I argued that our son's first birthday was a priority, and that Lauren would understand if he prioritized his family. David grew quiet and admitted he'd already promised Lauren he'd be there and didn't want to let her down. I asked if he was seriously considering skipping our baby's first birthday for his ex's wedding. He said Lauren wasn't just any ex. She held a unique place in his life, and I wouldn't get it. When I pressed him to explain, he said they had a deep bond from tough times they faced together, and he wanted to support her. I told him I didn't care about their connection. His wife and son should come first. He called me unreasonable, saying the birthday party would be fine without him and that our son wouldn't remember it anyway. I was so furious I couldn't respond and walked away to avoid saying something I'd regret. The next few days were strained. David kept bringing up Lauren's wedding, insisting it was important because she had limited family support and needed her friends there. I reiterated that our son needed his father at his first birthday and that I needed my husband to help celebrate, but David seemed more concerned about Lauren's feelings than mine. Ultimately, David chose to attend the wedding, missing our son's party entirely. I had to make excuses to my parents and his, claiming he had a work emergency because I was too humiliated to admit the truth. The party was lovely, and our son enjoyed it, but I couldn't stop thinking about David being at another woman's wedding instead of celebrating our child's milestone. David returned home around midnight, in high spirits, which only fueled my anger. He gushed about how stunning Lauren looked, how elegant the ceremony was, and how enjoyable the reception had been. He said Lauren was overjoyed and thanked him repeatedly for being there, saying it meant everything to her. I asked if he'd had a good time, and he said yes, adding that he was glad he went because it was a once-in-a-lifetime event for Lauren. He said her new husband seemed like a great guy, and he was happy for her because she deserved someone who'd treat her well. I told him I was filing for divorce the next day. David was stunned and asked why I was overreacting over one wedding. I explained it wasn't just about the wedding. It was about him choosing another woman over his family and acting like it was no big deal. He insisted I was blowing it out of proportion, that Lauren was just a friend, and that he'd have regretted missing her wedding forever. When I asked if he'd regret missing our son's first birthday, he paused and said our son would have more birthdays, but Lauren would only get married once. That response solidified my decision. I told him his priorities were clear. He cared more about Lauren than us, and I couldn't live with that. The next day, I contacted a divorce lawyer and began the process, realizing David would never prioritize. I can't tell you the full story in short. To watch the full story, click the related link below.